Welcome to the program. Probably the biggest news of the weekend.
Talk
Um,
about trending.
yeah, William Thomas, welcome to the Neesmith Race Report, powered by the Old Man's Garage, Late Model Chassis Parts Company. Talk to us about your weekend, brother.
Oh yeah. Thanks for having me. The weekend, I mean, it was phenomenal. I can't believe, for us to put a 525 in and, to go to Talladega and win, that wasn't as surprising. But to go to Rome and win a feature with a 525, I just never would have thought that was going to happen. It is middle of the summer. The tracks are a little bit slower, but still, the track had a little traction in it. But there towards the end of the race, you can only use 550 horsepower, so that's what we had, and everything worked out. So just an awesome weekend, ready to get going with the 525 series and move forward.
Well, that myth that you can't run a 525 on a big track, and a lot of people even say on a smaller track, you get a tacky racetrack, well, you're out to lunch and qualifying, but yet you went in there to Rome Speedway, and I'm sure there had to still be a lot of moisture in the track at qualifying, and we're third fastest out of 26 cars?
Yeah, we actually, that place there, it was dry up top, and there was traction right around the bottom. So you had to, keep your left side right in the bottom, and with that motor, I was able to do that and just kind of momentum around there. Those motors, they're not real torquey, compared to those big bore motors. But, once you get them wound up, I mean, they roll on pretty good, and I just rolled right around the corner there, and I was really surprised. I actually qualified better with that motor than I did with the 430 that I had in the week before that it got rained out.
Now, you had that 430 in the trailer, ready to go, and that wasn't that the car you were planning on running?
Yeah, that was the plan, but, we went to Talladega, and it ran so well that I said, shoot, let's just try it, and, it all worked out. So that's the way it goes sometimes. When you have something working, you just have to stick with it, no matter what everybody else says. You just got to try it for yourself, and that's what we did.
William, in your career of super late model racing, have you ever been able to buy an engine on Monday, get it delivered to your shop the next day, put it in your race car, go out, and within a week's time win enough money to pay for it?
Never in my life. I mean, for us to do that, I know, we work very hard getting it in there because it is a little different, and that's, I think that might, keep people from wanting it. But as we progress and as you go out there and show people, hey, you can actually win at a big racetrack with these motors, they're going to adapt to it. But to going back to your question, yes, for something like that to happen, to go out there and actually win the amount of money you spent on that engine, just you don't see that hardly ever. Maybe over time, but to do it in one weekend like that, I've never seen it.
William, there's been a lot of guys that have been looking at this engine and kind of scratching their head, and it's almost like they either don't believe in this engine or maybe they're just a little bit of afraid of it because it looks different, it's a little bit different. And I mean, you might have been one of those guys up until last week. What can you tell those people to convince them that this is the future of late model racing?
Well, I outran some high dollar engines. No matter if it was a spec motor at Talladega or if it was a 460 at Rome. To be able to go and be competitive with something, a $7,000 engine, that speaks for itself. I just hope that, everybody adapts to something like this because it costs so much these days to race. I mean, you see, people downgrading or, retiring, quitting, whatever they're doing, every day because it's just so expensive. These guys have got these astronomical, price tags on these engines. It's a tough deal because if you do this type of deal, then you're cutting the engine builders out, and it's the racing industry. So you don't want to cut anybody out. But then again, if you don't have any racers, how can you, promote a race?
Right.
That's right. Does it feel any? Did it feel any different to win with with the 525, or was it just business as usual?
It was business. You're still going to have, because it's something different, you're still going to have people talk, Like, I think I had a 50-pound weight break, and, you still hear people say, oh, well, you get a 50-pound weight break, and it's all aluminum, this, that, and the other. But there's no comparison. There's no comparison. I mean, they were given a 12-inch spoiler before. I rolled into Talladega with an 8-inch spoiler thinking I would never win the race because I don't have a 12-inch spoiler, and wound up winning the race. So, that's another thing that, to go in there and win with an 8-inch spoiler, because they took it away, because you have, somebody actually run good with it, and then they're trying to take everything away from you. When really they need to be adapting to that engine. Yeah.
How much has your phone rang since the weekend's ended?
It's been wide open every day. We've got a lot going on. I've got a new car owner, Dave Alexander with Alexander Industrial, and we're trying to get, everything ready to go race. Cars, engines, hauler, just everything. And it's wide open every day. And, hard work pays off. We worked really hard over the past couple of weeks, and it's paying off.
Well, we got the first two races of the Chevrolet Performance Super Late Model Series coming up. But before we get into that, you're talking about getting, cars and engines and all that stuff ready to go for the future. What about the future super late model races outside of the Chevrolet Performance Series that you're going to go to? We going to see you in that 525 some more?
Yes. We're still going to utilize that. Everybody wants to go win the dream. Anybody that races dirt late models, they want to go win the dream. They want to go win a Lucas Oil Championship. So, that's our dream. But still, as far as business goes, you've still got to, doing the 525 deal, you're going to make money doing that, because there's, hardly any maintenance on the motor. I mean, you only have to adjust valves, or, just like the crate motor, you have to, you change valve springs and do all this maintenance you have to do to a 604. But this motor, you just bolt it in there and change oil every once in a while, and that's it. And so, the cost is way down on these engines, and, to go and be competitive with it, you can't beat it.
Well, one thing you talked about earlier was, you had guys coming out of retirement that weren't racing that are getting back into it with the Chevrolet Performance CT 525 engine. First two races of the Chevrolet Performance Super Late Model Series coming up this weekend at Penton Raceway and at East Alabama Motor Speedway. I mean, those are two tracks that you've had a lot of success at. But one of those guys coming out of retirement is your dad. How much are you looking forward to going up against Hall of Famer Billy Thomas?
We'll settle that on the racetrack, but just trying to. He's been out of it so long. I'm just trying to keep him, on the right track as far as getting the car ready and stuff like that, helping him getting the motor in. We're working there in the shop every day, trying to get him ready to go. But as far as on track, we'll handle that on the racetrack. But I'm glad to see him back in a race car, and I know he's glad to be back in a race car. So as long as we both have a smile on our face at the end of the night, that's all you can ask for.
Does the old man still have a fire lit?
Yep. I'm sure he'll be ready to go. I know he's not gonna. He hasn't been in a race car in a year and a half, and I know that he's not going to be able to make any laps beforehand, but I'm sure he'll adapt right to it.
When we get to the racetrack, I know you say you've been helping him and all that stuff, but when we get to the racetrack and your dad comes up and asks you for some advice, do you tell him straight?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the way I am. If anybody's ever dealt with me, that's the way I am. I'm going to tell them just like it is. Some people, everybody takes it differently, but, I've always been straight up with everybody. So I'm going to just tell them like it is. This is what you need to do. And, once you get on the racetrack, it's a different story, but, I'll be willing to help him in any way, get him going. I'm sure he'll be fine, though. He'll do fine.
Okay, Webb, he's talked about all that. Ask him the dream question.
Got to ask him the dream question. All right.
Okay.
All right, William. We've talked for, I've probably known you now for about 2-3 years, but You're at the Dream, right? And your dad adapts so well to this 525 that he decides that he and you are going to go up to the Dream and you're going to qualify, and you guys are both going to make it. You're coming down the backstretch, last lap, door to door with Hall of Famer Dad.
Mhm.
He leaves the door open on the bottom, just a little bit, but enough to stick the nose there. How much room do you give the old man coming out turn into 3 and 4, coming to the checkered flag to win the Dream?
Well, all I've really got to say is I hope he's got his belts on tight. Because,
that's pretty good.
You know, I'm there to win the race. And,
That's a good answer. That's probably one of the better answers we've had. So,
yeah.
Okay, let's scale back.
I got another question for him. Remember we talked to his dad last week?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. William, if your dad outruns you this weekend, are you willing to cut your hair off?
I just got a haircut, but yeah, how short? I mean, we're talking about, you know, a number 1 or a number 4, or what are we talking about?
We're talking about bald.
Oh, bald?
Yeah.
Oh, come on now. I have to wear a wig for like a month.
Your dad talked about that haircut last week, and he said that was a haircut?
Yeah. Well, you know, everybody's got their own style, so it depends on what's in it for me, you know.
That's right. What you should do is I want you to go back to your dad now and say, hey, listen, the guys at the Neesmith Race Report talk about this deal, this thing with the hair. What do I get if I outrun you? So you guys determine that, and then we'll get you back on after the weekend. On Tuesday we'll know what the bet is, and we'll pick
Okay.
We'll pick a race.
All right. Well, we'll do that then.
There you go.
I'll think of something.
Yeah, you got to think of something. That's what I'm talking about. We need to start having a little extra to the kitty here on the deals. Who else can we get after each other, Roby? There's got to be some more people we can get after each other.
Oh, we'll find somebody.
Oh yeah,
we'll find somebody. We got to get RJ in on this deal somehow.
All right. Well, William, congratulations on a couple things this weekend. One, going out and just kicking tail. I mean, that with whether you got a 525 or not, winning means everything. But two, thank you for showing the people, and nationwide, believe it or not, nationwide people are paying attention to this, to what you did.
You have lit up the internet.
Well, that's the intention. You know, that's the reason you go out there and race.
Yeah.
You know,
so congratulations.
First off, to market yourself, but also to market, you know, whatever you're trying to push. And, you know, this whole engine package is going to be what's best for this sport. So I'm going to push it as hard as I can.
Don't you wish you'd have done this a couple of years ago now?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, RJ, you know, he went out there and won a bunch of races, a bunch of money with a 525. And I should have been paying attention because I wasn't. And you know, you get out there and you struggle trying to do your own engine program, and it's killing you. You know, you can't go where you need to go, and all you got to do is just bolt in a 525, and you're running just as good.
Yeah.
Or better. You know, so that's where we're at right now. So I finally made a smart decision.
Well, congratulations.
Well, before we
did, and go ahead, Webb.
Well,
go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was going to say, before we let you get out here, I want you to thank anybody that helped turns the wrenches on the Doom team, and also any of the sponsors that are on the side of that race car.
Yep. Well, first off, I'd like to thank Dave Alexander and his wife Amy for everything they're doing. I'd like to thank Zach, my crew chief. He's been, you know, working, you know, right there beside me, day in, day out, you know, 100 hours a week or whatever it is. I'd like to thank him. Dennis Brown for helping me get this deal put together. My dad for everything he's ever done. My wife, my little one Nolan for putting up with me being gone all the time. You know, and as far as sponsors go, you know, Richard Austin, he's been behind me. You know, since day one, since we first met, he's been behind me. He's just, you know, Joe Miller, JW Miller Land and Timber, he's been behind me my whole career. Just everybody. Hoosier Racing Tire, they've always been good to me. They got great tires. You know, just everybody. I mean, there's so many people out there. There's no way that I could race without all these sponsors, everybody that helps. And I'm sure, you know, most everybody feels the same way, and I just want to thank them all. You know, it's a long list. I don't have a list, but, you know, I'd like to thank all of them.